So in this video, we're going to be talking about arithmetic progression, all right? So we're going to start with some of the notations in arithmetic progression so that as we move, we would understand all the terminologies that are in alignment with this, okay? So the first is first term. So whenever you see an A, it simply refers to the first term in the sequence, i.e. if we have 1, 4, 7, 10, all right, this A is going to be our first term. So that's what this means. Okay, so that's what the A represents. And for the next one, we have common difference. Common difference, like the name implies, is the difference across the arithmetic sequence, and it must be the same, or rather it must be common, basically. Okay, it must be common. So if we want to get the common difference, we would usually use this term minus this term, or this term minus this term, or this term minus this term. Okay, so in this case 4 would be our second term, and 1 would be our first term, 7 would be our third term, and 4 would be our second term. So it's basically one term subtracted by the preceding term. So let's see, 4 minus 1 is 3, but we cannot be sure of the common difference unless we've tried it for like 2 or 3 other terms. Okay, so 4 minus 1 is 3, 7 minus 4 is 3, and 10 minus 7 is 3. So we know that 3 is the common difference, and this is an arithmetic sequence or arithmetic progression. Okay, so that's what this is. Then nth term is simply term that we want to identify. So that's what the nth term is. So for example, if we wanted to write 4, we would write t, instead of writing tn, we would write t2, because 4 is our second term, and we would equate this to 4. So if we wanted to write 10, we're going to write t4 and equates this to 10. By the way, I know some of you already would have proper knowledge on this part. Okay, so you can simply go to, or you can simply skip to whatever part it is that you do not understand. Okay, so for the last one, we have sum of the first n terms. Sum of the first n terms is simply the sum of whatever term it is that we are finding. So if we have 5 terms and we write S5, we're simply saying sum of those 5 terms. Okay, so that's about the notation. So let's go into some examples. So for our first question, it says we should find the common difference of the AP. Okay, I know we did something like this when we're explaining the notations and all that, but just for the sake of it. So remember, the common difference is going to be one term subtracted by the preceding term. So in this case, we're going to have T2 minus T1. T2 minus T1 is the common difference. What's T2? T2 is the second term, which is 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. But I genuinely do not like to just assume, okay, this is our common difference. I would like to try the second and maybe the third. So let's use T3 minus T2. T3 minus T2. By the way, it's not just any term minus any term, because 15 minus 5 will not give you the common difference. It's always one term minus the preceding term, meaning the term just before it. So 15 minus 10 is 5. So I'm comfortable to know that 5 is our common difference. But let's just try the third one, or a third one, T4 minus T3. The fourth term is 1, 2, 3, 4, 20. The third term is 15. So 20 minus 15 is 5. Therefore, our common difference is 5. It's as simple as that. Let's go over to the next one. Okay, so for our next question, we have write down the first 3 terms of the AP arithmetic progression with first term 8 and common difference 7. So say we should write down the first 3 terms of an AP. Okay, he already gave us our first term. So the first thing we want to do is write down what we have. So we have A, our first term, is equal to 8. And we have D, our common difference, is equal to 7. Okay, so now if we want to write down terms, now how do we find the nth term? Well, the formula for the nth term is Tn represents the nth term, equals to A plus n minus 1D. So this is a formula that you would need to keep in your head. Whether you memorize or cram it, it doesn't matter. Just make sure it's in your head, because we will be using this particular formula a lot when it comes to arithmetic sequences. Okay, so this is how we get the nth term. So to answer our question, it says we should write down the first 3 terms. So it means if we want to find the first term, well, A is our first term, so we already have that. So we just write 8. Okay, so we don't have to solve for that. So if we want to find the second term, we'll just replace n with 2. That's what the nth term means. If we want to find the third term, we'll just replace n with 3. So let's do that for 2 and 3. So let's find the second term. That will be t2. A is our first term, so we put 8 plus n is already 2. We already replaced n with 2. So that will be 2 minus 1, and that will be 1. So no need to write 1, we can just write d. And our d is 7. So we have that sorted out. 8 plus 7 is 15. So we have that. 8 plus 7 is 15. So we have that sorted. And that is our answer for the second term. Now, a simple thing you can do, obviously, if you want to find the third term, you're just going to put t3. You're just going to write t3. Then wherever you see n, you put 3 and solve like that. But a very simple thing to do is, you already know that the common difference is 7. Okay? You already know the common difference is 7, and you know 15 is your second term. So all you have to do is add 7 to 15. Okay? If you add 15 to 7 or 7 to 15, you would have 22. Now, the reason for this is, remember, to find common difference, we will do one term minus the preceding term. So let's try this. T3 minus T2 is meant to give our common difference. Okay, so T3 is 22, T2 is 15, and 22 minus 15 is 7. So the whole idea is, for us to get our T3, which was 22, what we were looking for, you would simply take T2 to the other side, and that would be D plus T2. But all of this doesn't really matter. All you need to know is that if the question continued and said, write down the first 5 terms, if you want to get the fourth term, all you have to do is add 7 to 22, that will be 29. If you said, what's the fifth term, all you have to do is add 7 to 29, and you would get 38. You would get 38. So this is how you would solve questions like this. 36 rather. Geez, 36. So that's how you would solve questions like this, as simple as that. Let's go over to the next one. So for the next question, it says the sequence 28, 22, x, y, 4 is an AP. Find the values of x and y. So this question is a bit different. Slightly more tedious, but it is not difficult in general. So, all right, so the first thing that we want to do is, we have our first term, which is a, and that's 28. Now we want to find our common difference. The reason we want to find our common difference is because, remember, if we want to find the nth term, now we're going to find x and y. X is our third term, 1, 2, 3. And y is our fourth term, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it means if we want to find t3 and t4, we have to use the formula Tn. Remember, Tn is how we find our nth term, and that is a plus n minus 1d. So we have our a. Obviously, we have our n because our n is whatever it is we're looking for. Third term, fourth term, fifth term, whatever. And d is the common difference. So we don't have d, but we can get d. Now remember, it's already said that this is an AP. So it means that for us to find d, we will do t2 minus t1. That's 22 minus 28, and that will give us our common difference. 22 minus 28 is negative 6, so our common difference is negative 6. And some of you might say, but I thought you said that it's preferable to do 2 or 3 before you're sure that it's your common difference. Well, you would likely do that, but in this case, we can only do 1. Which is 22 minus 28. Alright, and the reason I'm sure this is a common difference is because the sequence, this is an AP. Immediately it has been identified that your sequence is an arithmetic progression, then your common difference would be same. Okay, so d equals to negative 6, so we're sure that that is correct. So now I want to find x. That's the third term. So t3 is what we're looking for. Okay, so a is 28. So we just start to fill in the unknowns. So n is 3. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So we might as well just write 2 multiplied by d. So our d is negative 6. So we can write 2 multiplied by negative 6. Okay? So so we have 28. 2 multiplied by negative 6 is negative 12. So we just write negative, or we'll just write minus 12. So 28 minus 12 is, I'm pressing my calculator because I don't know math, is equal to 16. So T3 is equal to 16, and this is our answer. Alright? Now, if you want to see if your answer is correct, remember, common difference is simply one term minus the preceding term. Meaning that if we do 16 minus 22, it should give us negative 6. So let's try that. 16 minus 22 is negative 6. That's absolutely correct. So we know that T3, or yes, T3 is equal to 16. But the question says we find the value of x and y. So we can say x, therefore, okay, that's not therefore. Therefore, x is equal to 16, and voila, that's our answer. So we're going to do the exact same thing for y. We're just going to write T4 and we will be done with this question. So let's do T4. So T4 is equal to A. So instead of writing A, we'll write 28 plus n minus 1, that will be 4 minus 1, 3 multiplied by negative 6. So this would be equal to 28. 3 multiplied by negative 6 is negative 18. Therefore, 28 minus 18 is 10. Okay, so this is our answer. T4 is equal to 10. So you can just try it. If you do 10 minus 16 rather, you're going to get negative 6. So it means that this is correct. So we have found the values of x and y. So we can say, therefore, y is equal to 10. So that's how you solve a question like this. Let's go over to the next question. Okay, so in this question, it says if the first, second, and last terms of an AP are 5, 9, 101 respectively, find the total number of terms in the AP. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is write down the things that were given. So it says if the first, that's 5. Okay, so we're simply going to write A equal to 5. Remember, A represents our first term. Then second is 9. So we'll write that as T2. T2 is equal to 9. And last term 101. Now let's say we have 7 terms in a sequence. Okay, so let's say we have 7 terms in an arithmetic sequence. Then it means that T7 would be our last term. So now, because we don't know how many number of terms that we have in the arithmetic progression, it says find total number of terms. That's what we're looking for. It means that we can say let the total number of terms be n. Okay, so we can say let that be n, meaning that Tn is going to be 101. Tn is going to be 101. So n is what we're looking for. So n is what we're looking for. Okay, so we can just separate this with commas. Okay, so this is us defining all the things that we have been given. So if the first term 5, second term 9, last term Tn would denote that as Tn 101. Find total number of terms in the AP. N is equal to question mark. That's what we're looking for. So the big question is, how exactly are we going to find n? Now remember the formula for Tn. The formula for Tn would be A plus n minus 1 d. Okay, so now it's n that we're looking for. So now let's start to put all these things into place. Let's start to replace these variables with what we have. So we have Tn as 101, so we have 101. We have our A as 5. N is what we're looking for, so we'll leave that as n minus 1. Now how do we get d? Now it says if the first term is 5, second term is 9, meaning that our d would be 9 minus 5. Remember, to get your common difference, it is one term minus the preceding term. So we can say our d, you can write 9 minus 5 equals to 4. You can just write 4. So d is equal to 9 minus 5, which is 4. So we put our 4 here. So we have that. So now we can just solve this like we'll solve any algebraic equation. So 101 is equal to 5 plus 4 multiplied by n would be 4n. 4 multiplied by negative 1 would be negative. Okay, so let's carry on. So we have 101 is equal to 5 minus 4 would be 1. So you have 1 plus 4n. So we simply take 1 to the other side. And if you take plus 1 to the other side, it turns to negative. So that will be 101 minus 1. And 101 minus 1 is going to be 100. So we can just have that is equal to 4n. So to get n, we divide both sides by 4, as simple as that. So 4 would cancel this, and 4 can go into 125 times. So n is going to be equal to 25. So n equals 25, 25 equals n, they're all the same thing. So the question says find total number of terms in the AP. So you can say the total number of terms in the AP is equal to 25. And that's how you solve a question like this. Alright, so let's go over to the next one. So this question says an AP has 3 as its first term. Alright, it has 3 as its first term. The sum of the first 8 terms is twice the sum of the first 5 terms. Find the common difference. So now we're being introduced to the sum of terms. So we've just been solving regular arithmetic progression, but now we're going to be solving the sum of arithmetic progression. Okay, so let's write what we have. So it says an AP has 3 as its first term. So that would be A equal to 3. Alright, it says the sum of the first 8 terms is twice the sum of the first 5 terms. So it means we have S8 and somewhere we have S5. Okay, so find the common difference. So D is what we're looking for. So now let's interpret this properly. So it says the sum of the first 8 terms, so that will be S8, okay, is twice. When they say it's twice, they mean it's equal to. So it's equal to twice the sum of the first 5 terms. That will be equal to twice the sum of the first 5 terms. That's 2 multiplied by S5. Now remember when we were talking about the terminologies and the notation of arithmetic progression, we said that if we have something like S8, it represents the sum of the first 8 terms. If we have something like S5, it represents the sum of the first 5 terms. So you wouldn't be confused as to why we're putting it in this format, okay? So the sum of the first 8 terms is twice 2 multiplied by the sum of the first 5 terms. So find the common difference. Well, for us to find the common difference, there is a formula for the sum of terms. So we have Sn. The formula for Sn, which is the sum of n terms, would be n over 2, open bracket, a plus Tn. Okay, but now remember there is a formula for Tn, and if we expand that formula, it means this would be Sn equal to n over 2 a plus, remember the formula for Tn, a plus n minus 1 d. Okay, now obviously you can still write this, you can still simplify that, so that will be n over 2, a plus a is 2a plus n minus 1 d. Okay, so this is the formula for Sn. If you check any textbook or check Google even, this is the formula you will likely see. The reason I wrote this is so you can have a better understanding as to why it is like this. Because if you forget this formula and you remember this one, then it will be very easy for you to get this one because you already know the formula for Tn. Hopefully you have this formula in your head. Alright, so that's why I wrote it. But generally, this is the formula that we would be using in this question. Okay, so we can take the rest of this off. So now let's start to fill in the variables that we have here. So S8. So it means that wherever we see n, we're simply going to put 8. So on this side, we have 8 over 2. 2 multiplied by a. Remember our a is 3. So 2 multiplied by 3 would be 6. N is 8. So 8 minus 1 is 7. So we'll just write plus 7d. Okay, so we have that. Now this is equal to 2 multiplied by, the reason we're putting it in brackets because the 2 is multiplying the whole of S5. Meaning that when we put 5 into n, alright, this 2 will multiply all of that. So we have that. So 2 is equal to, now we have our S5, so we'll just replace everything with 5. So this will be 5 over 2 into brackets. We replace a with 3, so that will be 2 multiplied by 3, that will be 6 plus n minus 1. Your n is 5, so 5 minus 1 is 4, so 4d. So we have that. So now we can work this out. So 2 can go into 8 4 times, so we have 4 into 6 plus 7d equal to 2 can cancel out this 2, so we're going to have just 5 into 6 plus 4d. Okay, so now we can open up the bracket. 6 multiplied by 4 is 24. 7 multiplied by 4 is 28d. 4 multiplied by 7d, 28d. 5 multiplied by 6 is 30. 5 multiplied by plus 4d is plus 20d. Plus 20d. So we can bring all the d's to this side and take all the numbers to the other side. So if we bring plus 20d over to this side, it turns to negative. So that would be 28d minus 20d, and that would give us 8d. Okay, then if we take 24 to the other side, 30 minus 24 would give us 6. Therefore, our d would be 6 over 8, but more simplified. 2 can go into 6 3 times, and 2 can go into 8 4 times. So our d is going to be 3 over 4, and this is our answer to this question. Alright, let's go over to our final question for this topic. So the last question says, in an AP of 21 terms, the sum of the first 3 terms is negative 33, and that of the middle 3 is 75. What is the sum of the AP? Okay, what's the sum of the AP? It means we're looking for S21. Now remember, the formula for Sn is n over 2, 2a plus n minus 1d. Okay, so if we put what we're meant to put, that's put 21 in place of n, that will be 21 over 2 into 2a plus 21 minus 1 will be 20, so we have 20d. Okay, there's meant to be a bracket here, 20d. Okay, so now this is all we have, but we can't go further with our solving because we do not have a, neither do we have d. Alright, so this is where we stop. So we need to find a and d. Now the way we're going to find that is by looking at the other part of the question. It says in an AP of 21 terms, the sum of the first 3 terms is negative 33. Okay, so if the sum of the first 3 terms is negative 33, yes, you may say that you want to do it in this format. S3 is equal to 3 over 2 into whatever. But the reason you can't do it like that is because when you get to the middle 3, you will not be able to do it like this, because I want you to remember that S21 simply means the sum of the first 21 terms. S3 means the sum of the first 3 terms. So you would not be able to use this method to get this because it says middle 3. You can't then say S3 because S3 talks about the first 3, not the middle 3. So you would have to use a different approach. Okay, so now let's do that. So now we know that in every arithmetic sequence, the first term is a. Okay, now the second term would be a plus d. A plus d, because for you to move on, you have to keep adding the common difference. So if we have 1, 3, 5, 7, the common difference here is 2. So we have our first term. So the second term was the first term plus the common difference, which is 1 plus 2, which is 3. So this next term would be 3 plus another common difference. So we can write that as a plus 2d. Okay, this is the third term. So the next term will be a plus 3d, 4d, 5d, and it keeps on going like that. So if you want to find the 100th term, it's going to be a plus 99d. A plus 99d. If you want to find the 100th term, a plus 99d. Alright, remember the formula is gotten from the general formula for finding terms, which is Tn is equal to a plus n minus 1d. Okay, so let's just have that at the back of our minds. So now it says that the first 3 terms is negative 33, meaning that if we add the first 3 terms, a plus d, and a plus 2d, if we add this, then it should give us our first 3 terms, because these are the first 3 terms. So let's add it. A plus a is 2a. 2a plus a is 3a. So we have 3a. Alright, now d plus 2d is 3d. So it means we have 3 plus 3d equal to negative 33. I hope that makes sense. All we did was added the first 3 terms. Okay, so now let's add the middle 3. Now there are 21 terms. How would you know the middle 3 terms? Well, it's very simple to know it. Now for you to get the middle 3 terms in any number that you are given, remember the total number that we're given is 21 terms. So if you want to find the middle 3, you would simply do 21 minus 3. Alright, 21 minus 3 gives 18. So we have 18. Then you divide this 18 by 2. Okay, 18 divided by 2 is 9. So the first 9 terms, you take that out. The last 9 terms, you take that out. And the remaining would be the 3 terms that we are looking for. That's the middle 3 terms. So the first 9 terms will be from 1 to 9, meaning that the middle 3 will be 10, 11, and 12. So the 10th term, the 11th term, and the 12th term. This would be the middle term. Now, if you count from 13 to 21, you would see that it is 9 terms. Okay, so it means that if we add the 10th term, the 11th term, and the 12th term, it should give us 75. So now what's the 10th term? The 10th term is a plus 9d. Alright, the 11th term would be a plus 10d. And the 12th term would be a plus 11d. D. So if we add everything together, this would give us 3a plus 9d plus 10d is 19d, 19d plus 11d is 30d, and it would give us 75. So if you notice, we can take this out, a simultaneous equation. So this is equation 1, this is equation 2. Alright, so we can carry on with this. So now since we have 3a and 3a, we can use the elimination method. So we can subtract equation 1 and equation 2. So 3a minus 3a would cancel out. 3d minus 30d would be minus 27d. So we have minus 27d. Then negative 33 minus 75 would give us negative 108. Meaning if we want to find d, we just divide both sides by negative 27. Therefore our d is going to be positive 4. So our d is 4. So we have the value for our common difference. So now we need to find our a, because remember, we need to have a and d to be able to solve this question. So let's find our a. So all we need to do to find our a is simply put 4 into d, and we'll have just one unknown, which is a. So we'll be able to find that. So we can say from equation 1, it's like how you solve a simultaneous equation. So from equation 1, which is 3a plus 3d, equal to minus 33. So we simply put, so we can from equation 1 substitute d. Okay, so we have 3a plus 3d. Your d is 4, so 3 multiplied by 4 is 12, equal to negative 33. So 3a would be negative 33 minus 12. So minus 33 minus 12 would give us minus 45. So your a is going to be negative 15, because minus 45 divided by 3 will be minus 15. So your a is minus 15 and your d is 4. So all we have to do is put that into this equation. Okay, so a is equal to minus 15 and d is equal to 4. So we just put that into this equation. So this would be 21 over 2. So instead of writing 2 multiplied by minus 15, we can just write negative 30 plus 20 multiplied by 4 would be 80. Okay, so we're going to have 21 over 2 minus 30 plus 80 is going to be 50. Alright, so 2 can go into 50 25 times. So we're going to have 21 multiplied by 25. 21 multiplied by 25 is going to give us 525. So this is our answer, meaning that this is the sum of the first 21 terms in an arithmetic progression. That will be all for this topic, arithmetic progression. If there's anything you don't understand, you can always do well to rewind the video, or you can leave it in the comments section and I will try to attend to it. See you in the next one.